Welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and eventually customization of my YBeedoll Nora. Apologies in advance if this voiceover is a little bit awkward, I'm still getting used to it. This footage is from all the way back in May. For some reason I got it in my head that I wanted to do the Faceup process in the same video as the unboxing, so that's why it took this long. I do have one of YBeedoll's other sculpts called Bomb. It's this little chubby bear doll, and I love him so much that Nora was kind of a must-have as soon as I saw her in progress pictures. I love what they did with the owner manual and just the branding in general. It's really clean and looks really good. I especially like that they included physical measurements in the book. That kind of thing is just really useful to have on hand. She came in this cool little canvas bag with some of YBeedoll's illustration on it. I really love the illustration style. I never know whether or not to show the COA, but, well, here it is. This little item is the head, which is just wrapped separately. And a little box with some extras in it. I think I was a little bit surprised at the resin color when I first unwrapped her, because she's a really nice dark tan color. Tan tends to run a little bit light in BJDs, but she's really a nice dark color, maybe one of the darkest dolls I have. One of the magnets came loose in transit, and that happens to me so often. I swear it's like a miracle if any resin doll can arrive with all the magnets fully in the head. The first thing I wanted to try was these black eyes that I had set aside for her. I actually like how they turned out so much that I haven't ever tried any other eyes in her, so maybe I would like other eyes better, but I really like these. I was very excited to see that she came with some extra hands. I always love extra hands, even if I don't use them a lot of the time. I love how round and stubby her hands are. She just wouldn't have been the same if she'd had like small dainty hands. I think I ended up switching one of the hands out. From what I remember from Bomb, this might be to help open the head cap. And this is the pair of eyes she came with. I kind of wish that I had tried them on, but I was really sold on the black ones. If I'm remembering correctly, I think that Nora was sculpted all by hand, which is shocking considering how well all of her parts seem to fit together. Here I was just sort of playing around with her engineering to see what she could do, and honestly, considering how sort of chunky and stylized she is very posable. She can do things that some of my slimmer dolls can't even do. So I was very impressed. I was just getting this body for the aesthetic of it, but it can really achieve some pretty impressive poses and super easily. I would say her posing is very functional. Like, there are a lot of dolls that may be able to achieve more extreme poses than her, but she just kind of falls into extremely natural poses. Specifically this pose I find to be pretty difficult to get dolls to do, but she does it really easily, and she looks really cute doing it too. Alright, face up time. So you can probably tell by my tone and the thumbnail and the fact that this is attempt number 1 that the first face up I did I was not very happy with. I think before I was even done with it, I kind of realized that I didn't like it. I think I was sort of fighting against the sculpt without even realizing I was doing it. So this, what you're seeing right now, is kind of worthless footage, but I wanted to include it anyway. If you want to skip this part, there's a timestamp down below, but I had all this footage sitting around, so I figured I'd just include it in the video. This footage doesn't really do the darkness of Nora's resin justice. It's a lot darker than I'm used to. So I think the color of pastel that I chose here was a little bit off. You might already be able to tell that it's on the orangey side, which made her look kind of sickly. It is passable, but it is one of the things that I wanted to change when I redid this face up. I still actually love how the blushing on the bridge of her nose turned out. It's really cute. I'm not even sure why I like it so much. It almost kind of reminds me of like a sunburn, or not a sunburn, but a tan, like a nice, subtle, sun-kissed sort of look. I never really know what to do with lips, so what I do here is not going to be too different from what I end up doing with the final result. I just really prefer the look of a darker upper lip and a lighter lower lip. Oh boy, here's where I run into the real problems that I have with this face up. First of all, I kind of ended up going in too much of a makeup direction. I kind of like that Nora is a bit androgynous and you could make her into a boy if you wanted to. But with the sharp eyeliner and then the heavy eye makeup, it just goes a little bit too far in the intentional makeup direction. And I think the other part of it was that kind of by doing the darker upper eyelid, I was implying a different eye shape than the one Nora actually has. She has a very distinctive triangular eye shape almost, and I feel like the way I did the over eye makeup almost changes that eye shape into a rectangular eye shape. It seems like really splitting hairs, I know, but I do think it changed the look of the face enough that I didn't like it as much as the original. I blame it on all the anime face-ups I've been doing recently. This eyelash painting is very satisfying to watch, though. Actually, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I actually really like how the line work on this face-up turned out. I believe I was still using gouache on this one, so that would explain it. These freckles look a little harsh at first, but in the end they turned out really, really subtle, and that's one of the things I wanted to change with my second attempt at the face-up. I really wanted to make the freckles a little bit more visible because they really faded into the background. I think this is what I mean when I said that I sort of gave up halfway through. None of the blacks are dark enough, it would need a couple more layers, but I think I was kind of feeling like I wasn't going to be able to save this one. I had her on my shelf for a couple of days with this face up to see if it grew on me, but it really just got worse. I was missing the blank version of the sculpt. I think I thought about it for a week or so and molded over and eventually decided, nope, it's gotta go. I gotta try again. I wiped the face up with rubbing alcohol, soap and water, and acetone. Some people will tell you to never try to use acetone to remove face-ups on resin BJDs, but I've never had any sort of problem with it. So do your own research, figure out what works for you, and just be smart about it. Don't leave your head soaking in acetone for hours at a time. A little bit on the end of a Q-tip should be plenty when it comes to removing the really tough parts of a face-up. Otherwise, rubbing alcohol should do the trick for most of it. She sat on my desk totally blank for, no joking, 6 whole months. So, here we go. I actually have a good reason for keeping her blank on display for so long. I like to kind of look at a sculpt that's giving me trouble over an extended period of time and try to figure out what I like most about that sculpt, sort of what to lean into when I'm doing the face up. I think the eyes were giving me the most trouble last time, so when I was looking at Nora and thinking what do I like most about her, it's this melancholy, soft roundness of the sculpt in general, but especially the eyes. They look really sad. So I wanted to, for one, ditch the super sharp cat eye eyeliner that I was doing. And I also wanted to sort of lean into the droopy, sad puppy dog eyes sort of look that she has naturally. These really graphic lower lashes were a choice. I don't dislike them, but I wasn't really planning to do them until I just up and did them. I think it kind of works because YBeedoll's style is sort of halfway between cartoony and realistic, especially Nora. So I think it ended up working out in the end, but it was kind of a spur-of-the-moment decision. I gotta say, I do wish that I would have made these upper eye lines a little bit thinner. They ended up a little bit chunky, especially after paint that I'm gonna do a little bit later. They're still cute, and I still think it's passable, like it's still within my standards, but it's just kind of a, oh, I wish I would have done something differently. I was trying to avoid the overly orangey tone that I got with the blushing last time, so I used this purple, and it's not as obvious on the recording, but in person it's very purple. In the video it almost just looks like a cute light pink color, but in person it's like purple, and I didn't want her to be purple. But I did know that if I layered some of the orangey color on top of this purple, that it might still work. So I decided to use the purple anyways. I still think it looks cute. It's just not enough on its own. I did still do some blushing over the nose. I don't think it's quite as cute this time around because I didn't focus it in that specific little crescent right above the nose, but it still ended up pretty cute. I just had forgotten that I had liked it when it was that focused little crescent, but either way, it still works. This magenta is definitely a more artificial lip color. I think I did end up adding quite a bit more of the orangey color later. This is the one downside to pan pastels being so fine, is that sometimes when you're using them in one area, they just like scatter elsewhere. Like it just gave her a mustache. So I had to go in and fix it. It's the price we pay for extremely good pigment. I wanted to also do a little bit more with these sort of creases right by the tear ducts. I almost wanted to make it look like she had been crying or something, Not quite, but just like a little bit redder and like a little bit of a hint of, I don't know, the curvature of her face, I guess. I don't really know how to describe it. This is where I go in with that orangier sort of undertone pastel. And I really do think it totally fixed the problem that I had with it being too purpley, because the purple still kind of downplays the orange, and then the orange hides some of the purple. So they're working together, they're getting along. I was very happy that this ended up working. This orangier tone just looks so much more natural to me on the lips. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know. It just, like, as soon as it hit, I was like, yes, perfect. Do not touch it anymore. And I went in with a little bit more purple on the eyes. I didn't want to overdo it and make it look like she was, like, totally sleep deprived or something, but it was a little bit too subtle for me. To be fair, I probably could have done the eyebrows on the previous layer, but with eyebrows I know that I struggle, so it's much safer to just seal everything that I like in and then struggle with the eyebrows. I think in the previous attempt I had like drawn on the eyebrows during the sketch phase, but this time I tend to do better with pastels anyway when I'm attempting like realistic eyebrows, so I think it turned out much better. I like the bushier look better. I think the eyebrows are the only thing I worked on in this layer, which sort of makes sense. I struggle with eyebrows, so I need to isolate them so they don't screw up anything else. I've been trying to familiarize myself with acrylic paint a little bit more recently. I lean on watercolor and watercolor adjacent paints pretty heavily because they can be really easily wiped off, but they're not quite as durable as a good old acrylic. And these high flow acrylics, like intended for airbrush and stuff, I believe, they're really, really good for painting face-ups. So I am trying my best to get better at painting. I could tell even while this paint was wet that it was not going to be dark enough, so I decided to add some of my dad's black airbrush paint to it, and it worked out pretty well. That's another good thing about acrylic paint, is that you can like really easily mix your own colors. I think it still turned out a little bit too light, but it's the kind of thing where it doesn't bug me too much, and if it does, I can just go back in and put another layer of a slightly darker brown over it, so not a big deal. Full disclosure, I fully just painted these little eyebrow hairs off screen. This is the kind of thing that I need to hold like an inch from my face, and there's no recording that, so sorry. I did go in and add a little more black this time, like I was saying with the first attempt. I didn't go black enough. I didn't want to make that same mistake again. I think I probably made the same mistake again. I could have gone darker, but it's still a step above the kind of one layer situation I had going on before. The toothbrush returns. Tutorials on how to do freckles make it look so easy, but every single time it's like a struggle. I have to go in and retouch every single freckle and add more pigment to make them darker. Like, you're seeing a very small fragment of the struggle that went into making these freckles. I do think they ended up better than last time, but they're still very subtle. But with that, she's officially done, and I actually like her enough to keep it this time. Oh my god, she is sweet. I kind of can't believe that I was able to take this doll from like one that intimidated me for 6 months and turn it into one that I really, really like the outcome. I think that's the thing about face-ups and about just creativity in general, is that you kind of can't rush it, and I think I needed that 6 months, honestly, because I think that looking at her and figuring out what I liked about her specifically is what helped me arrive at the result that I ended up at. Looking at the two of them side by side, I don't even think they're all that different in the end. I like the second attempt better, but I guess I wouldn't blame you if you liked the first attempt better. I never know how to end these videos. This video should be going up either on or immediately after the first of the new year. So, I guess Happy New Year. I'm hoping to do more doll videos in 2024, but we'll get to that when we get to it, won't we?